like I was 27 when I went to Finland, and it was like really my first time living by myself and abroad. As I had no idea what was happening. I always relied on my parents. Lived with my parents, relied on my parents. Didn't know how to cook, so I went into Finland. I was essentially the only Asian guy in Finland in
Sure. Yeah.
like a sea of like white,
Blonde.
Yeah.
blonde.
No.
The first time I had to cook for myself was when I lived in Finland. I was the most popular sushi counter, and in my honest opinion, made the worst sushi anyone living has ever tasted in their entire lives.
But even in Berlin, I felt that I'm like, sometimes people watch me doing things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
just
like a monkey.
for fun?
Well, because I'm
No.
it's
Yeah.
for them it's weird. I speak English and like I'm Asian, so I look different.
Yeah.
So like, and then I hang out with Germans, and they're looking at me like this, and like,
Yeah.
come on, guys. In a way, that's also that says that I'm different. Like you guys are treating me specially, and I'm not part of you. So that kind of like like I had that feeling. Oh, I'm not part of it. But I did feel that I'm unique. I'm a stranger. Like it's not like New York where everybody feels, or at least I feel like this is my home because everybody's from everywhere else. I'm a completely different person than when I did not live in Berlin. I was completely isolated from Korean culture when I was in Berlin, which was not necessarily intentional. I just didn't have any Korean friends in Berlin, and I actually tried to go to Korean church to meet Korean friends, but I'm just not religious, so I failed to make any Korean friends. So that made me to kind of really try hard to be associated with German culture. And everybody had their strong opinions or have their strong opinions there. And I think that kind of became how I carry myself for my everyday life.
I met someone from East Germany, never interacting with a foreign person ever before, and he was like, "Your German is so good. Like,
Yeah.
how come? Like, oh, like I never talked to a foreigner before." I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm a foreigner because I grew up here all my life, but okay. He was not super old, from a different generation, like same generation. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm kind of representing all the foreigners in Germany right now for you, but yeah.
because you're German or whatever. You're like there, right?
He's just German.
Yeah, I dyed my hair black and I had some plastic surgery. I used to be blonde.
Yeah.
I think most of my time in Austria when I grew up, I was facing a lot of racism and bullying, but it did not, like I had my friends. It's not that that people were bullying me. I was an outcast, but sometimes if people saw me on the subway or tram, you just get like the typical weird things, and things like that. For me, it was normal, which is kind of sad. But I mean, I was a kid. I grew up there, so I was facing that a lot.
I know the German culture very well, but I agree, like you always feel that you are different. That could be a good thing.
Yeah.
Could be a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. It's not always bad to be different. I met Chris, my current boyfriend, at work, and he had plans to go to LA, and we just started dating. So if you want to go, it's bye. Back after a lot of drama, he decided to stay, and like I told him if I go somewhere, I want to go to New York. He canceled everything, and that we started pursuing together to go to New York. And I think that was also like it was a joint decision. It was not like my personal own decision, although I would have gone anyway with or without him, but that's a different story.
LA and New York are very different. So
That's
like,
true.
How New York came up, and
New York was my personal choice. What about Canada or Australia? I'm like, no, US and New York. Like, what about a different city? Like, no, New York. Why do I want to go to LA? yeah, it's beach, like the beach, like nice weather and blah blah blah. And, like you can have that after you retire. Like let's go to New York and work and like experience cool stuff. And he couldn't argue with that.
Funnily, moving to New York was a big criteria, and it was always a topic for the breakups because some of the guys I've dated, they were very bound to where they live. They were not even willing to move from one European country to another neighbor country. I always told them, I'm gonna move to New York at some point. If you're not willing to, there's no point of continuing this. And here, it's definitely more, everyone can just be who they want to be. They do their own thing. I think it was very liberating for me to come here because it was the first time where I could just be myself without thinking, oh, is this conform with what a German would expect of me to do, or am I integrated enough? Here in New York, it's more about you do you, and it's all good. At the end of the day, there are so many people like me here that I'm not really special, and I enjoy not being special. And I probably wouldn't find friends who would go with me to a sexy animal party. That's the difference.
Different, but it's definitely different in New York. Like here, you're just like everyone else, and that's the first time I experienced it in New York that I'm not.
I think it's really interesting. Everyone talks about New York as being the major step in their life.
Yeah.
It's really unique to the city.
For sure. Yeah.
So we're no longer special in New York. So
No,
what happens now?
nobody,
They just-
yeah. Yeah, no, it's like everybody is like
Yeah.
from everywhere and like.
So we no longer then being shaped or influenced by being in New York. I mean, being in different cultures in Finland and Germany, and that has, I guess, influenced your character in some way. But then now,
I actually do admire people who have lived in other countries and then uproot their lives and then move to a whole different country and restart. Now, would I have wanted that for myself? At this stage, no, because I am fairly rooted in what I've created and the foundation I've developed, and I have a very American, I think, personality and very American work ethic. And there's something about the American way of life that I actually really enjoy, and having traveled around to other countries, it just solidifies that idea that, you know what, I would not fit into most other cultures. The equivalency of something impactful as moving to another country, for me, would have been just the impact I do to myself and how I disrupt my own life. It's almost like self-sabotage. But I get to learn from my own mistakes and develop and learn as I grow and create a whole new person for myself. And I think we have the ability and willpower to be able to do that. At least I'd like to believe so.
Well, at the same time, like just being not considered special in one other country. Like for here in New York, I feel like because you're not as special, you feel like you can let it out a little bit more, be more yourself as well. So you don't have to be on the lookout for being treated as exotic or teaching people about Asian culture. Like it's all just here already. So you feel like at the same time you could turn yourself up to volume 11 or 12 without either no one understanding you or offending anyone.
Yeah.
So I feel like that also shapes you as well. You're actually allowed to be yourself, and there's a support group of other people that actually understand that have been in your situation and totally understand where you're.
Absolutely.
oh man, that really makes me feel like I gotta get out of New York.
Yes. Moving here, as I said, it was liberating. I could be myself, and it was really, in this environment, I could really truly find myself. That wasn't possible before. I have definitely more self-confidence compared to when I was living in Germany. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next years, what's gonna happen. I think it's very unique. You really have the feeling in New York that anything could happen. You could make anything happen. And yeah, we'll see.
I think about it sometimes, whether it was right of me to have enjoyed it back then, but for the wrong reasons. And then I figure, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta take advantage everything that comes your way. Even if it's being put in a sea of blonde and you're the only Asian out there. For far too long, we've been in the background of someone else's story. It showed me who I could be. And then it was up to me to decide whether I liked it or not.